Welcome back. Let's try that conversation again. We are telling you about the Defence Industry Lekgotla, which was held in Pretoria at the CSIR International Convention Centre earlier this week. The aim was to discuss the current defence landscape and tackle systematic challenges, including red tape, which has been consistently identified as a major obstacle. Joining us for that is Deputy Minister of Defence and Military Veterans, General Bantu Holomisa. Good evening to you, General. So I was asking about the down spiral in defence spending and investment in general in the defence force, which I said is well documented and extensively lamented across many sectors. And I was asking about, the impact on what once was a thriving defence research, development, manufacturing and exporting industry. And I had asked you to give us your assessment of the impact of the decline in defence expenditure on the industry that underpins it.
Well, there is no doubt in anybody's mind that the priorities of the government in the last 25 to 30 years has been more on looking at social security as opposed to military security. And as a result of that, a lot of money was deprived on the side of the defense. And that has impacted negatively in terms of doing research and development, wherein you need to be amongst the top countries in the world who are producing equipment which is relevant. Today's equipment, as you can see, I'm sure you've watched even in the Iran and USA war, that the technology has completely shifted in terms of fighting. Not to say that we are going to buy missiles and so on, Scud missiles and so on, but we need to make sure that our defense force, at least equipment-wise, to at least guarantee that the country is safe, our borders are protected, and defense is down in every corner which surrounds South Africa. So there is a need for assistance. But today I was happy that at least the private sector, through the policy of the national government, national treasury, which has said, let's look at the public-private partnership, PPP policy, where we can get into a short, medium to long term. And the industry was looking into some of those issues. Yeah. On the other hand, the government, the military industry was complaining that the South Africa is producing a lot of military equipment, both in private as well as in the state-owned enterprises. But the bureaucracy tends to delay to approve some of these applications.
In fact, General, if I can come in there, you sort of foreshadow where I wanted to go with this conversation. In response to the outcry about declining defense spending and the vulnerabilities that has produced, the president, among others, and government in general, has basically been taking the stance that says the defense budget needs to rise steadily to about 1.5% of GDP. The question to you is, how exactly do we do that in the context of a fiscus that's under pressure, where we're seeing that fiscal consolidation and even downright austerity budgeting, right, that is hitting even core service delivery departments?
Well, the cabinet has approved that the issue of defense must be put on priority in terms of funding, and we have already submitted proposals to the Department of Finance in line with the directive which came from the president, that let us move away from 0.58% of the GDP to 1.5% of the GDP. So we will see how Department National Treasury moves forward from now on. But we cannot expect that we will get big chunks of money from National Treasury because of other commitments. That is why we had this Lekgotla, where we want to work with the private sector,
right,
both in terms of prime mission equipment as well as to look at our property portfolio. So we hope that at least we will emerge tomorrow with resolutions and timeframes how to implement what we were discussing here.
In fact, say a bit more about that triple P model that you are seeking to look at. Where exactly are you looking to implement it? Is it around entities such as Denel, and what does it entail? Does it entail equity, ownership, investment in one way or another, or even leveraging some of the property? We're told that the Defence Force has some 500,000 hectares of land, for example. So speak to it as in totality, as a parting shot. What does triple P look like? Public-private partnership. What does it look like in the defence industry space?
Well, we have two major areas which people can look at. That is to look at the property which we have a portfolio in the defense. We've got plenty land, but we don't want to sell that land to the highest bidder. But if we can partner with the property developer to say, we want you to build a hospital in region A, and then we will pay you monthly so much until maybe after 15, 20 years, that hospital is given back to be run by the state. We are not going to sell any piece of land to anybody.
All right, let's leave it there for this evening. Thank you for your time. That's the Deputy Minister of Defence and Military Veterans, General Bantu Holomisa, talking to us about the Defence Industry Lekgotla that has been happening at the CSIR International Convention Centre.